Give it up for Josh Johnson!
I don't know. Yeah, maybe y'all saw, maybe you didn't see. Maybe, I mean, people can only watch so much news, you know? But y'all saw the president at the UN. This is... I didn't see everything as it was happening. I heard about some stuff later, right? So then I got a text message from my friend. They were like, oh, did you see what happened at the UN? I'm like, no, I didn't see what happened at the UN. And they explained to me that, you know, he was getting on escalator and then the escalator stopped. Now, I thought at the time, I thought it was going very differently. I thought the escalator stopped on like a down escalator. That would have been a big deal. Imagine you on escalator. You have belief. You get on a down escalator, you're like, all right, it's gonna take me where I need to go. No need for a seatbelt. If that thing just stops, the momentum, whoa! Now the president's falling down the steps. So I thought that's what happened. Then I watched the video and I saw that he just walked up to the escalator, stepped on the escalator, and the escalator broke. And you saw him stand at the bottom of the escalator like, what? And Melania didn't miss a beat. She just started walking up the escalator. And so there were people that were like, this was sabotage. UN needs to be investigated. Somebody needs to be arrested, right? But then he made it up the escalator / stairs. And he went to speak to the UN. Went to speech for the whole of the UN. He's standing here, UN, over there. And as soon as he goes to start, the teleprompter broke. We know the teleprompter broke because he told us. As soon as he walked up, he told us, teleprompter broke. First the escalator, teleprompter broke. Nothing here work. Nothing. No, teleprompter. And it's like, look, if you're delivering a speech and it's been, you know, uploaded to the teleprompter, then the teleprompter breaks, all right, like, that is something to be annoyed or caught off guard about. But I'm sitting there watching like, why do you care that the teleprompter, you're not gonna read it, like you're not. Every speech is off the dome. Every speech you can tell every speech he's over here freestyling every time. Why do you even have a speechwriter? You know the president's speechwriter right now gotta be the easiest job in the world. You just over here typing up chapters from Great Expectations, knowing he's not gonna read it. Knowing he's just gonna go, you know what I mean? He goes off of vibes. What do you care that the teleprompter's broke? You weren't gonna look at it. You might have read the first couple sentences and then been like, you know what? I'm gonna speak from the heart. And so the teleprompter broke it, you know? And so he's like, I guess I'll just have to. Which was also wild because the speech was printed out in front of him. But he was like, no, you want me to turn pages? No. Then proceeds to, you know, give this address to the UN, and depending on who you talk to. Depending on whose opinion you're listening to, it did not go fantastic. Because the energy of the speech was like the normal energy. It was like rally energy, you know, like talking to his base or something. But this is the UN. They don't live here. Like some of the stuff they don't care about. Like you talking to the UN. Everyone's here. He's over here like I inherited a mess and we fixed it and like years ago we were down in the dumps and now we're the hottest country in the world. He keeps saying we're the hottest country in the world and I don't know what that means. I feel like even the UN was like, so what? Climate change? What does it mean the hottest? This is also wild because like you talking to other countries right now. Why are you dunking on them right now? Then dudes over here, I ended like 7 wars. And it's just funny because like everybody he talking about is there. So now some of these countries look at each other across the desk like, I don't know. I didn't even, what did I say? Nah, it was incredible. And then there was a weird thing. I think it was Brazil. He was talking about the leader of Brazil and how, like, first of all, this dude also tariffing everybody. So then he was talking about how he doesn't do deals with people he doesn't like, but then he had a good handshake with the leader of Brazil, so maybe they could work something out. Even Brazil had to be like, yo, I don't know. I just saw him in the hallway. Out here trying to be cordial. I don't even know if this is good. Was this good? No, it's phenomenal performance. Truly, I've not seen anything like it. Just over here. I'm sure if you were at the UN just sitting there, you just sitting there quietly listening, looking over at other countries. There's some countries that had just be chuckling. Like countries that aren't in the mix, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like a key member of BRICS or you're not, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like in the news in that way, you just come, you enjoy the show. You know? Like I imagine maybe Zimbabwe might have been cracking up. They'd be like, that's your friend. That's your friend. But that wasn't the only incredible performance. That wasn't the only press conference. Because they held a press conference. Because they found it. They found it. They nailed it down. They found the cause. That's what they said. Gathered everybody together. Got the press conference going on. Looked like it was in the Oval Office. Yeah. And they were going to talk about the causes that they had found, the root cause of autism. This is what they said. And so, they walk in and you had Dr. Oz. Dr. Osmosis himself. You know Dr. Ozymandias. Like, Dr. Oz is standing there. And like, why? How did this happen? If we are just gonna start putting people from TV in real, like, government position, in real medical field, can we at least get somebody from, like, Grey's Anatomy or something? You know what I mean? Like, if we are already not being serious, can we not be serious better? Who is checking for Dr. Oz besides Oprah? Who is... He's standing there, doesn't even really look that healthy himself. This man's advice so far has been actually insane. They've done interviews with him. He's, spoken to the public. Like, what would you suggest for Americans? The man's out here. If you want to, if you don't, look. If you don't want to be sick, be healthy. I wish I was joking. I would, like, I can barely take credit for that one. I changed like 2 words. So you got Dr. Oz from TV on one side. And then you have y'all know who he is. And then you have RFK Jr. on the other side, looking odder than usual. If y'all saw it, you know what I'm talking about. RFK Jr. showed up. I don't know what's happening. Because it wasn't like a tan. Like, he looked like a bruised blueberry. Like, he looked wild, and nobody addressing it. Nobody saying anything. The president over here just trying to not use his peripheral vision. RFK Jr. is white. No, that is a white man. He's white. He's a white guy. But that's the first time I've ever seen a white guy and been like, he is colored. Like that. Yo, my man, what is happening? He just stand there like he's been holding his breath for 26 years. This is very bad. And then, I don't know who told him. I imagine it could have been somebody, higher up, but it could even just been an aide that told the president, okay, you're going to give this press conference, you're going to talk about links to autism, and what you need to do, this is very important, for legal, this is very important for a lot of reasons, what you need to do is say the name of the drug. Then you can go on and say the brand name. But you need to say the name of the drug, because the drug is what we're saying is the link, not one particular brand. So there are other like store brands that are this drug. You need to say the drug. Say the drug. You have to say the drug. Okay? Say the drug. And I'm sure he attacked it with that regular, bravado. I'm gonna say it, whatever. Get out of here. Let me work. Let me get in the zone, all right? I got you in my ear. I got him over here being purple. Let me work. Man goes up, starts the speech. It's rolling. It's rolling with it. And then he hit a more than 8-letter word. And then the commander-in-chief, leader of the free world, in real time, in front of us, the American public, technically the whole world, because the internet, our leader in front of the nation, at a press conference they called. Our leader in real time sounded it out. I try really hard. No matter who somebody is, no matter the background, no matter the situation, really treat people like equals, not like look at people a certain type of way. We all struggle. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses and everything. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it. If you are 80 and you haven't attacked a word before, maybe it's just not a word you ever going to get. Like if you... It's late. It's late for him to be sounding out new words. Because the word, he could see the word coming up. And sounded it out confidently, too. Just over here, some toast, and it's not like it was in the mic. You couldn't hear it into the mic, but you could tell Dr. Oz was standing there trying to do hard ventriloquism. Just... Dr. Oz was standing there like, just open your mouth, let me do it. Just... Dr. Oz was fighting to just, you could see him. See him in the face. I see him in the face. I said, Tom, I see Trump. See him, man. I knew when he looked around, we were cooked. Like I knew it. When that man looked up from the paper, I was like, no, stay on it, stay on it. Stay with it, you almost got it. I was, Tom, I see him, I see him in a film. I see him in a film. I see him in a film. I see him in a Tylenol. And like that. That is also wild, too. Gave us the full, what is it, Porky Pig? Gave us the full... Quit Tylenol. And he was hitting those T's, that Tylenol, extra hard. He was getting his payback with those T's. Tylenol, don't take that Tylenol. When y'all see Tylenol, because it was rough. It was like you've been in third grade before. You remember when a teacher, I didn't even know this at the time, but it was basically when a teacher had like a hangover, and so then the teacher would just make y'all read the book to each other. At the time, I really thought it was about learning, and now that I'm grown enough to have friends that are teachers, I'm like, no, you had a bender. That's what this is. Don't try to put this off on the students. You seeing double right now. And so it would be, your turn would be coming up. And you would do a thing. Somebody would be reading over here, and you start counting people and counting paragraphs. And then you read ahead a little bit so that when it's your time to read your paragraph, you're reading your paragraph all fast and everything. People can't even retain the information. Then, there'd always be that one kid. There'd be that one kid where it's like, when you get to his paragraph, that's going to last till the end of class. So you literally count your paragraph till you have to read, and then you count paragraphs, and you like, the bell gonna ring here. Sometimes to be a kid, everybody learns differently. We all have different abilities, and you do your best to be as patient as possible. I remember, I had one kid in my class that we would do that, and then his paragraph be coming up. And as soon as his paragraph start, everybody's like, and then he would start and he would be sounding it out and then hit the word and then sounding it out. Everybody learns at a different pace. Sounding it out, hit the word. Sound it out, hit the word. Sometimes he'd even go back, sound it out, hit the word, say the last 3 words together. He's learning. We're all learning. Everybody moves in their own time. But sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I was a kid too. I wasn't always patient. Sometimes he'd be sitting there and be like, and I'd be like, A, it's A, it's A, it's A, it's A. You already hit it. It's A, it's A. There's nothing left to do. It's A, it's A. It is A. You did it. High five. You did it. It's A. It's only A. And then you grow up and you mature and you realize that everybody's good at stuff. People aren't as good at stuff and everything. Because I'll tell you what, I could read, when I was a kid, I could read, very good at reading. My math wasn't great. So then when it came to math, it was me who was like a little bit behind all the time, especially when we got to like algebra. Because I could factor a little bit. I understood denominators and stuff like that. Like I felt like I was keeping up and everything. But when we hit algebra, all of a sudden the tables were turned. This is why you have to be as patient with people as you want them to be with you. Because I'm sitting there. And for the first time, there's letters. There's letters in the math problem, but I'm sitting over here like, and then he was sitting there like, it's 4, it's 4, it's 4. And so, he's over there. He went ahead and dunked on that acetaminophen and then went ahead and started saying Tylenol, started describing to the people things that were not on the paper in front of him. Which is why you definitely shouldn't be upset when the teleprompter doesn't work. You know is what you're gonna do. This man was just throwing out all types of wild claims. This dude was like, hey, look, The Amish? The Amish don't have any autism. And a couple times in this press conference, he would say something, then turn to somebody and be like, is that true? My man, no, it's all on the paper. They put it all on the paper. You had RFK Jr. turn from purple to red. Because then he just started going off on like vaccines in general. You know, and just started saying like, look, you know, it's too much. It's too much. And he's not the first person, he's not the only person to be saying that. It's too much at one time. You know, you got those beautiful babies and you shooting them up with 80 shots of liquid. The thing that stuck out to me about the liquid thing is that you could tell he wanted to say juice. You could tell he's like, they put too much juice in them babies. Nobody need all that vaccine juice. No, it was truly wild. And then it was over. And then it was over. I can't imagine what it must have been like to be on the board of Tylenol. If you're on the board of Tylenol watching this press conference, you over here probably on a whole roller coaster of emotions. Like, at first you'd be sweating because they had let it slip several times that this is basically what the topic was going to be and what was going to be said. It had been like, you know, pieced out, little flavor, little sprinkle here and there for the media all the way up until that press conference, right? But then, when they actually said it, I'm sure Tylenol was stressing when they said this is what the press conference was going to be about. This is what they were going to talk about. You work at Tylenol, you sitting there, edge of your seat. And then he goes to say the name of the drug, and you're probably like, this might not be that bad for us, honestly. Like, he almost said a cinnamon. We might be in the clear here. All we gotta do is come out with a label, no cinnamon in our product. We'll be fine. And then he says your brand name. Then he says your brand name over and over again. And now you're like, that's not good. That one came out perfectly. And then he talks about the Amish, and you're like, I guess if people watch the whole thing, they'll be confused enough to not know if they should take it or not. Because my thing is, look, why have such an unforced error? You know what I mean? Go ahead. You already got Caroline Levitt talking to the media all the time. Get her out there to start the thing. Get her to say the name of the drug and then walk off. Then you can go and just go off your vibes and everything. You had two people on either side of you that probably say the name of the drug all the time. Don't let him, but let Dr. Oz say it. Let him earn his keep. No, he over here supposed to be a doctor. Got the shortest name I've ever seen. Because I do my best to be up on the news, but I don't always want to talk about, politics and stuff. Sometimes there's stuff that happens that has nothing to do with anything political, and it just warms your heart to see it. You'll see a news story that captivates you, and it doesn't take you into like any sort of polarized position, Like I saw this South Carolina teacher that got arrested got arrested for using fart spray on the students as a punishment. Look, I'm not a teacher. I come from like a family of teachers, people that work in education. And like kids have always and will always drive adults insane. It's like part of the bargain that we have. Is part of the truce, you know? It's like y'all won't do a Lord of the Flies. Y'all just be bad in school and we'll pay the bills. And like, I can't imagine what it's like to teach, especially now. You have kids who genuinely, because of like lockdown and COVID and stuff like that, missed out on little pieces. You have adults now who missed out on like a full college experience. You also have little kids who missed out on having their friends over and, being able to socialize at a very specific point in their life. So everybody's been like knocked off their kilter a little bit by COVID and by lockdown, not being able to just be with each other. That's just, a fact. And because of how school was going in that time, you have people who are really behind because they didn't have that special attention. You had to do school on Zoom with a bunch of other students, and maybe a kid needed help and they couldn't get it immediately, not in the way you can get it when you're present, I can't imagine what it would be like right now to be in school, sitting there trying to do my algebra like zzz, 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 zzz. And so then the kids come back to school and, some of them are excited to see their friends. Some of them are still trying to learn how to socialize. Some of them, maybe aren't as affected as others. But kids will be kids. Kids will be loud. They won't listen, all that stuff. And then what do you do if you're a teacher? You got teachers out here fighting for their lives just to try to teach you some English. You see videos of it all the time, teachers going through it because students don't want to listen, all this stuff. This is the person that's just trying to make sure you know how to spell. So one day, if you make it all the way to the White House and you have to address the nation, you won't be like, cinematosis. And so if you're a teacher, you know what I mean? What do you do? Like my teachers used to yell. Teachers yell. It happens. Hey, stop! And you can tell. There's a certain yell, especially when you got like a male teacher. There's a certain yell that you can tell you broke him because his voice cracked. You know what I mean? Like, if he's like, hey, hey, y'all, chill out, right? And he's had enough of it, and maybe you're the first period of the day. You know what I mean? Y'all being a little loud. Hey, listen up, right? Something happened at about 5th period and on, where if you really got him at his wits' end, he'd be like, hey! Can't even help you people. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell when a teacher really at the edge, when they just start talking to the students like they are society. Like it's like you do your best, You go to a state school to save money because you know you're not going to make it here. You got a passion for Spanish, so you try to teach it to you knuckleheads. Just truly, teacher ready to cry. Over here, you get that third shut up. Sometimes that third shut up doesn't have any bass behind it. It sounds a little shut up! Leaning against the board. I don't know what to do. And so what do? You know what I mean? Yelling doesn't work. You can't hit them. Somebody came up with a plan. Somebody was like, all right, y'all don't respect me? Okay, y'all don't respect me? You will respect this. Because I've read different reports. Some reports say he was like doing a prank or whatever. Some reports say he was like mad about whatever. But I'm telling you, he could have done it for any amount of reasons. Maybe this dude didn't take his job seriously. Maybe, he was out here just trying to prank for fun. He's somehow like a teacher's assistant, whatever, and still hadn't like grown up. So then he's over here. Ooh, look at you, stinky. Ooh. Ooh, stink butt over here. Ooh. Maybe. But maybe he had enough. You can only take so many spitballs to the back of the neck before you snap. Maybe this dude came in one day and was like, all right, look, I hate that it's come to this. I really do. But please believe me, if you talk all the time or you never talked before, anybody can get it. All right? I'm not going to lose my voice this week because y'all don't want to learn. Anybody can get it. Anybody. I'm going to put it right here. And I'm begging y'all not to test me. As soon as somebody's talking to their friend, he's like, what? He must have been brandishing it. He must have been wielding it because apparently, like, from what I read, like 100 parents complained or something. This dude got arrested, and then I think they said like 2 students went to the hospital or something like that. And I'm sure you over there in interrogation tried to defend yourself. They should have thought about that asthma when they were doing all that talking, all right? How do we know it was a spray? What if it was that talking that caused the asthma attack? Over here, mouth moving 100 miles a minute. I'm trying to teach something. Listening is easy to breathe. Because I wonder how much he must have done it. You know what I mean? Was it just off of anything? Just one little noise? Huh? Or did he wait? Was he like writing on the board, letting the chatter sort of build? And then that's the thing. When you're a kid in class, you always think you're good if you're just not as loud as the loudest person. But that noise rises the entire level of the volume, because now if everybody's talking a little bit, somebody's going to get a little bit more confident, get a little louder. Everybody starts talking a little louder. And as long as they're not as loud as the loud one, now everybody's basically screaming just so they can hear themselves because they're all doing so much talking. And next thing you know, he whips around. Hey! Y'all gonna learn today. Because even the school said that he did $55,000 worth of damage. How? It must just be in the walls now. I was reading the news and I saw this Mark Robinson. If y'all don't know who that is, he's a lieutenant governor of North Carolina, and he's running for governor of North Carolina as the GOP candidate. And a bunch of news came out where basically they're
are these profiles that they found of him from a long time ago being on porn sites saying the craziest stuff you can imagine, right? And this is my thing. First of all, this is a terrifying and dangerous man, and I know that because he leaves comments on the message boards of porn sites. What? A porn site is simple, okay? You get in and you get out. You don't stay to chat. What's wrong with you? You're not here to make friends. You are out of your mind. Why are you just on here being with? That's weird as hell. No one I've ever met has been like, oh, well, I can't wait to log on and talk. That's a real sick man right there. That's crazy. And just so you know, Mark Robinson has been endorsed by Trump. Trump would stump with him and stuff like that, and he's been at Trump rallies and stuff. And then, Mark Robinson's a very big man. He's huge. He's a large guy. And Trump called Mark Robinson Martin Luther King on steroids, because I don't think he understands how steroids work. Like, they don't just make you bigger in general. Like, they don't balloon you. Like, you gotta work out a little bit. You gotta do something. Mark Robinson is over here being like, I think, I don't know what opinions he truly holds. I don't, because, politicians lie and they pretend to be who they think you want them to be. But it seems like he's trying to appeal to the most radical version of a conservative, right? And he has his little taglines, and he gets in with like phrases. I think that's why Trump likens him to Martin Luther King, because he tries to put on like an MLK-esque voice when he speaks and everything, but he says stuff that he sure his base wants to hear. And he said really horrific stuff about gay people, about trans people and everything. And they uncovered all of these things that he had said on the message boards of these porn sites because his username sometimes was his name. Fellas, I understand that sometimes we're in the heat of the moment and you go to one of these illicit sites, and the site asks you questions. Maybe the site, in order to enter, they want an email or something, or as eager as you are, please do not give them your actual information. This goes out to everybody. I don't care what you believe in, who you're voting for. Please do not give a porn site your real name and email address you use for work. I know it's the first email address that comes to mind when you've got other things on the mind, but make up an email address real quick. I know that sometimes that takes a second, because then you got to make a fake Google account. You got to go back. You got to accept the email from the porn site and then just look. But make it so they don't know it's you every time. It shouldn't be that hard, but apparently it is, because then CNN and the journalists on CNN, I don't remember if they're actually like CNN affiliates, but basically the journalists that looked into it found that on lots of, porn sites, he was using the same username, the same handles, which turned out to be the same usernames and the same handles he used on like Twitter and like, fellas, even if it means coming up with a fake name right now, just come up with something to say in your mind. The fact that he was using his email all the time, but it makes sense. I guess he would use his email because he was using his name and he was commenting and all that. So he probably wanted to get the feedback from what people were saying to what he was saying. Now that I think about it, maybe it was more intentional than dumb. Like, he said insane things. This dude, first of all, on a porn site, no one is looking for feedback, really. Do you know what I mean? Maybe there's some. Maybe some crowd-funded, crowd-sourced. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm sure. Look, I haven't been on OnlyFans, but I'm sure with an OnlyFans, there are people that are like, I made this thing. I hope people like it. Let me get some feedback. This is what they like. This is what they don't like. That makes sense, right? But if you're just out in the world watching whatever comes up, and then you're just commenting all the time, you need a friend. This dude said such insane things. Some of them I can't repeat, but a couple of them I will. This dude said, unprovoked, I'm a black Nazi. I don't know where you begin with I'm a black Nazi from a black dude who should have probably left the porn site by now. Like, he said other stuff. He was like, I would rather Hitler in office than the people that are in there now. I'm more confused than angry. I'm not gonna lie. You know, and then he said stuff about how, like, my man, slavery wasn't that bad. I wish they would bring back slavery. I'd buy a couple. Mind you, this is on a porn site. What wires do you have crossed in your head? Does being horny make you angry? What? In what world does that come up? You know, it's very specific. You know, in what world are you on a porn site and then you're like, you know what really needs to be fixed? The Senate. Bruh. What? You know, I do my best. I really do. I do my best to try to understand people, and I don't get this one. This is beyond me. Because even outside of what he said on the sites, it's also some of the things that make him unfit for office are just what he says out in the open. The way that he talks about people who are definitely his constituents, you know? There are gay people in North Carolina. There are trans people in North Carolina. So when he speaks, he's speaking about them and sometimes to them. And he says very sick, hateful things, you know? And just the way that he has this weird, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I try to love everybody, but it's very hard to love a black man that hates being a black man. It is jarring. You don't even know where to start. And the thing that I think maybe he thinks is that his proximity to whiteness and what the white people around him like will be his safety. And it's not going to be the case. Fundamentally, it won't. You know? Because when you say things like slavery wasn't that bad, I wish they would bring back slavery, I'd buy a couple. Who do you think? It's hard to get to the bottom of what this person is thinking, because it's so crazy, you know? It's like, it's one of those things where you look at the state of politics, and it's one thing to lie, and it's one thing to say what you think people want to hear, but it's another thing to be an absolute lunatic and already in office, because he's already lieutenant governor. So governor's not that far of a stretch. And he got to be lieutenant governor saying mostly what he says now, minus the porn stuff. And it's so bad that Donald Trump himself, the dude who would stump with them, this is Martin Luther King on steroids. He doesn't know what steroids are. This is Martin Luther King on steroids. Donald Trump's campaign is even telling them, hey, you may need to drop out. If Donald Trump's campaign Donald J. Trump's campaign is telling you to drop out, you should probably leave Earth. The idea that Donald Trump's campaign is like, this guy, ugh. The fact that Trump distanced himself from Mark Robinson, Trump done distanced himself from Nazis. The fact that he was like, oof, this is pretty weird, right? You know, like Trump didn't denounce the Proud Boys openly. They asked him about the Proud Boys, and he was like, you know, boys will be boys, I guess, or whatever. But you, no. And that's exactly what I mean. Your proximity to whiteness won't save you. You're actually saying and doing some of the same things that the people say and do that Trump didn't distance himself from. But he's getting as far away as he can from your black ass. He's getting so far away from you, you would think he was on steroids. I think a lot about how we think about each other and we treat each other, especially now with like an election on us, you know. Everybody's exhausted. Why do we even do it this way? You know, in like France, they're like 3 months out, they're like, who should we pick? Like we're the only ones that make it a season and a half of TV. Like no one else in the world does this. No one else in the world is like, all right, 2024, let's start talking about 2028. Why do we do it this way? And then you watch people, watch how they react to people, you know? Like, I have a tougher time than I've ever had with the things that are being said, you know? Everybody expects politicians to lie. Everybody expects politicians to not care about them. I get that. But what's happening right now is, like, truly insane. You know? J.D. Vance was at a rally, and it's weird. Okay, I've just never seen somebody with less charisma. Like, J.D. Vance makes Ron DeSantis look like Ron White. Like, it's... Because when Ron DeSantis was running, I was like, why he smiling like that? He was just, do you remember his smile? He's right. He's like, it's like it hurt him to talk to people, person to person. Then J.D. Vance got in there and nobody was happy. And J.D. Vance said, you know, they asked him about how he felt about the whole rumor about the dogs and cats things affecting the Haitian community, why they've been zeroing in on Haitians specifically in Springfield for some reason. You know, he's from Ohio and everything like that. And he basically said, like, and you could look this up for yourself if you think I'm being unfair, but he basically said that, you know, this is a Democrat talking point and a point by the media and everything, as if he didn't say it. And then he basically says, you know, everyone loves talking about those Haitians in the community like they came here legally and are doing everything legally, but they were brought in and they were legalized through a process by Kamala Harris that is unconstitutional. So as long as they're here, I'm going to call them illegal aliens. He's talking about the people who did the right thing, by the way. You'll still be illegal. You'll never not be illegal, in my view. That's wild. That you can't do that. You just can't, because the law is supposed to be the law. You're supposed to be the party of law and order. You can't just be like, nuh-uh, that's not... It's not how the law is supposed to work, you know? And look, I think that one of the reasons we get pitted against each other really, really hard is because America makes a promise, and it makes a promise to everybody that they will have it better tomorrow. And a better tomorrow isn't coming for everybody because of systems in place to keep tomorrow like today. So when I see Donald Trump at a rally and he says they're coming from Africa, they're coming from the Middle East, some of them are coming from Asia. These people are coming to our country, they're poisoning the blood of our country, and we have to get them out. I don't just think about people of color. I do think for a second about white people from the past, right? Because white wasn't always this like singular identity. There was a time in America where if you were Irish, you were spit on. Where if you were Italian, you were beat. And everything that Trump says about them is what they said about all those people in the background, right? About their great-grandparents. So they may cheer it on, but recognize if you have Italian descent, if you have Irish descent, if you're Greek, there was a time where you were not welcome here. And they said that your very presence and the presence of your children would destroy the country, would poison the blood. And then we became the most powerful country in the world. So clearly it's a lie. It's so clearly a lie. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying this as if I'm like, oh, you know, don't even have a program, open borders, just let everybody come in, spill it. The thing that they are painting, sometimes it's not even what's happening in the area. And look, I'm going to tell you right now that I think that there should be a fair and legal and simple process for becoming a citizen. Do you know what I mean? And I think that having a process is not un-American. Having a process is not cruel, right? But there has to be a process. But then when that process is adhered to, you can't just be like, no, that's unmanageable. You know, that's wild to me. You know, I have friends who, one of my good friends is Italian, first generation Italian, and he's a bit older, and he tells me stories of what it was like for his family, right? And so much of it was based around fear. These Italians are coming over here, and they're gonna ruin everything with their good food. You know? And they were called criminals. There was an assumption that everybody, no matter who you were, in the Italian community was in the mob, and you were dangerous, and people should stay away from you, you know? It's everything. It's every single thing that's happening now. I'm not saying that there's no possibility of having an immigration problem. I'm not saying that it's not something that needs to be addressed. I'm saying the rhetoric that you use when you talk about people is important. No matter what you do when you build policy, you know? Because I would like the people who are hardworking, the people who are honest, the people who genuinely love America to be in America, you know? Because the same things that they do to immigrants now is what they did back in the day, you know? Maybe you were Irish, and maybe an Irish person in your community committed a crime, and now it's a crime on all of you. Not just one of you did it, y'all all did it. Every single one of you, and we're gonna make you feel like you did it. We're gonna put up signs, right? And if you're Irish, you know what those signs said. You know what I mean? So where did that get us? And where are we now? You know? Because we didn't send those Irish people back. We didn't send those Italian people back. You know, we found a way to make things work, and you build on a process and you improve it. I'm not saying there's not a process that doesn't need to be improved. I really am not. I'm saying that the way that you talk about people is important. Outside of anything else, whether they share some land with you or not. You know, and the same things that are happening now are what happened back then, you know? I'm scared of having a political process that's like it's untenable. No.
Are you guys ready for an amazing show? I want you guys to start getting loud, start clapping it up, start clapping it up, start clapping it up. More energy, let's go, let's go, let's go. Clap it up for Mr. Jackson.
So tomorrow we tape the set that's like the sort of New York set. So I'm doing obviously jokes I've been doing on the road and stuff, but a little bit more stuff that's like Brooklyn centric and everything. I remember early on, when I was living here, I got to do a showcase, and then I got to open for somebody at the Bell House. So we sold out both shows, which is like, I know it's not crazy for like any successful comedian is like, okay, you sold some tickets, so what? But just for me, it's like this whole week of like, we sold out Talia Hall in Chicago, and that's where I started, and then that's the most tickets I've ever sold. I don't know, I'm just like really excited about that, because I think that as much as you don't want to get caught up in any sort of like money, fame, whatever, it's just proof that what I'm doing people are resonating with, and so that feels really special. So tomorrow we're doing 2 shows at the Bell House, and I don't know, I'm like a kid, man. I'm really excited, and it's because I've lived in New York so long. I feel like I'm doing it now for like my friends, and yeah, I just get to show what I've been working on in a way that still feels like pretty personal, you know.
Wow. I love y'all. Thank you so much for being here. This is like... I've been living in Brooklyn for a long time, but I grew up in Louisiana. Nah. This is the thing, when you tell people that you grew up in Louisiana, whether you're at a party or a show, there's always somebody that's like, oh my gosh, I love New Orleans. And then I have to be like, yeah, that's not where I said I was from. Now, don't get me wrong, New Orleans is the best part. It's just the whole state around that city, you know what I mean? New Orleans to Louisiana is if you had the most beautiful blue eye, but your whole face is fucked up. Like, it's... I didn't say I was from a good part. And I was broke while I lived there, too. And when you're poor in a place that's already terrible, you're just more aware that you're there. You know, I was very present in my situation. I knew if I moved, it was going to be on foot, you know? And it's weird because sometimes you'll just be talking about your life. You'll tell someone that you grew up poor, and it starts a weird pissing contest you didn't mean to get into with anybody. You'll be talking about your life. I grew up poor, and they'll be like, oh, you think that's poor? Like, I'm not saying you weren't poor. I'm saying I was also being poor, all right? And they'll be like, I had a favorite flavor of dirt. And it's like, okay, all right. That's sad. That's sad. I'm not saying you weren't being poor over there. I'm just saying I was also poor over there. There's plenty of poverty to go around. I don't know if you've heard. Things are pretty bad for a lot of people. Just to give you an indication of how broke my neighborhood was, when I was little, my neighborhood was so poor that the church closed. If you understand the gravity of that situation, just imagine God being like, I ain't got it, all right? I don't know what to tell you. This is a bad neighborhood. I'm leaving, all right? I'm not dying again. I lived in Louisiana, didn't have any money. I moved to Chicago, was somehow poor. And now, living in New York is the first time in my life where I'm like making money, things are going well, able to take care of myself and my family and stuff like that. But it's crazy because all those years I had no money. And the first year I had any money, they taxed me like I always had money. That's pretty fucked up, isn't it? Like I just got, you can't give me like a leap year or something to make sure this sticks. I did the thing you're supposed to do. I pulled myself up over imaginary bootstraps people are always talking about. And as I'm edging my way up the cliff of poverty, the government is staying at the top like, we would like most of that money, please. Boop. And look, don't get me wrong, I grew up the beneficiary of tax programs. I have no problem paying my fair share of taxes. I just don't like the way that we have to pay taxes. Just tell me what I owe. Like, send me a bill. Don't make me count. This is their job, and if I do it bad enough, I go to jail. That sounds fucking insane. Because I owe whatever you say I owe, so just tell me what I owe. Because then when you get the number wrong, you get a letter from the IRS the next year where they're like, hey, you're actually off by like $2,000. So you know! How do you know how off I was unless you knew the number the whole time? This is a setup. We just don't do anything else like that when it comes to money, you know? Like, you never go out to eat on a date and you sit down and you look at the menu, but there's no prices. But you order, you eat, you enjoy yourself. But then at the end of the meal, the server doesn't just walk up to you like, so, how much do you think it costs? Don't worry, I'll wait. Oh, and by the way, if you guess wrong, there is an officer waiting outside. Like, it's insanity. It's just crazy in a country like this, right? In a country with this much of a wealth gap, this much of a general income gap, where your financial well-being is left completely up to you with very little financial education to go out into the world with. It's crazy in a country like that, we still have game shows. That doesn't feel weird to anybody else that every night hundreds of people are getting on live national television to win life-changing amounts of money, and they lose and they still clap. That's the most Black Mirror shit we do. How is no one cursed on a game show yet? You went from $8,000 to zero. How has no one ever just looked down and been like, fuck? That's how we feel for them. Why aren't they freaking out? Every game show, they ask the contestants what they would do with the money, and the answer is almost always practical. You know, what would you do if you won tonight? And people are like, oh, I got some student loans I'd pay off. Love to pay off the rest of my auntie's house. Yeah. And then they lose. They go from $8,000 to zero, but by the time the camera pans them, they're like, maybe next time. It's like, did they give you drugs before the show started? Why are you so calm right now? Host of a game show is always a millionaire. That doesn't seem to bother anybody. It's never someone with a median income that could be just excited for you if you won because they understand the stakes. It's always like Ellen DeGeneres. And she's leaned over next to you like she's your friend, you know? She's like, oh, wow. What are you gonna do? I mean, $50,000 is a lot of money, you know? I mean, not to me. No, I could buy and sell your children, all right? No, but for you, this is a lot of money, you know? And the audience is on your side. Don't you other poors want him to win? Like, we live in an almost cashless society. You use your card for everything. You might use Apple Pay for the rest. And yet, when people are desperate enough, they'll still rob a convenience store or a bank, just get their hands some quick cash to feel like they have a chance. How has no one robbed a game show yet? If I was on Wheel of Fortune and I was in dire straits and I went from $100,000 to zero, I think I'd just be like, I'm sorry, Pat. I
think we're gonna have to keep playing. No, fuck that. That was a bad spin. Let me spin again. That's bullshit. Let me spin again. Let me spin up. Vanna, 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 Vanna. If you move, I will blow your head off, all right? I can touch the screens myself. You think Howie Mandel is strapped? He's not. Go to Deal or No Deal with a fucking gun and be like, open all of them. How about that?
I've been watching my friends date, and it's hard out here, you know. It's tough for people, especially because we're not kind to each other. Like, it's terrifying to be vulnerable when you know people are just ruthless, you know? And the thing I watch happen more than anything else, especially between men and women, is we'll use a stereotype to write the other person off. You know? Like, from men to women, it's crazy. It's like, oh, listen to her, she crazy as hell, crazy ass. And then for women to men, it's creepy. Oh, listen to him, he a creep, creepy ass, creepy as hell. You know? I'm not saying those two things don't exist. I'm just saying the threshold to be those two things is incredibly low. Like, in order for a woman to be crazy, all she has to do is have a feeling, all right? Any feeling. It could be positive. She could be laughing. You're like, nah, it's crazy as hell. I don't like that. I want that type of laughter in my life. No, thank you. And all a dude has to do to be creepy is age. That's it. Bro, just be you and 60. Just keep living your life, but be 60. Someone will be like, ah. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been out with a girlfriend. She's like, look at that creep sitting by himself at the bar. I'm like, yeah, it sounds like he's not bothering anyone. Like, let that dude be 60 somewhere. Because what I don't like about it is that it's almost always covering up a thing. It's a thing you don't want to say. So you say the thing that's a stereotype to get people on your side. You know? Like, is she crazy? Is she really crazy? Or did you just get caught? So it is like half the time you were doing something you weren't supposed to be doing, and she caught you, and now in the face of facts and evidence and good points, all you have left is try to make her question reality, you know? That's why dudes be up here like, she believe everything she see with her eyes. She crazy as fuck. Like, I can't deal with this type. I didn't sign up for this. Like, just because she saw me do it, she gonna be like, you did it. This bitch crazy as hell. I can't. Is he creepy? Is he truly creepy? Or is he just ugly? Like, when are we gonna start being honest? I get it, he has a crush on you, and it's sweet, but when he looks at you, his eyes don't go in the same direction, and it's upsetting. But we can't just add a whole personality trait. Did we learn nothing from The Hunchback of Notre Dame? An entire Disney movie dedicated to this exact situation. Quasimodo wasn't creepy, heart of gold, but he was fucked up looking. We can all admit it, and he laid his feelings out for Esmeralda. Esmeralda did her damnedest. She really did. Quasimodo told her how he felt, and Esmeralda was like, ooh. Quasi, look, he a knight, okay? This might be my only chance to get out the hood, all right? You understand. Which is honestly Esmeralda's loss, you know? It really is, because you know Quasimodo was packing, all right? He had to be. Nobody walks like that doesn't have a hog, all right? That whole movie that it was up here doing this shit, like, nah, he was slinging pipe, okay? And he was strong enough to ring the bell by himself. He would have split Esmeralda in two. She wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. You know what I mean?
The name of the tour has like so many different meanings. Like, there's the 15 aspect of like trying to release 15 minutes every week. There was the, you know, the sort of freshman is like a renewal thing. Like, this is my first year doing stuff the way that I've been doing it. But I still feel like so new. I still feel like a baby sometimes, because then you get around people who are just masterful. Like you see the way that they work and the way they write, or just their stage presence. So much to learn from everybody, and I feel like I'm still just soaking it all up. Like I don't know. Like I still feel like I'm like everybody's little brother sometimes, because I'm so curious about how everyone thinks and about how they put together what they put together. Watching people be so much more centered than you even know how to be, that's fascinating. And then watching someone take over with their stage presence in a way that's like magic, you know? It's like, I feel like it is like magic sometimes when you look at magicians, and magicians, a lot of them probably know what each other's tricks look like, but every once in a while somebody will create something, and they'll pull something out of nowhere that even makes the magicians go like, damn, that's wild. And I feel like that for jokes sometimes, you know, and that's what I want to create for other comics and other people. It's just like, you think you know where I'm going and you don't, you know, or just the whole overall thing was like an experience.
Y'all have great laughs. I love y'all because y'all are actually laughing. You know what I mean? Like, you'd be surprised how many people pay money to come to a comedy show, buy drinks, and then still don't laugh because they're self-conscious about their laugh. But your laugh is still you expressing joy. We can't be so hard on ourselves that we're like, no, my joy is stupid. I sound like a fucking idiot when I'm happy. I was gonna sit here and stare so I look normal. In the entire time that I've been doing comedy, I've honestly only ever heard one weird laugh. I was doing this show in Amsterdam, and there was a guy, center, dead center. I don't even remember what I said that got him so good. But this dude went to laugh, and I'm not even kidding. This is a perfect impression of his laugh. He went, not only did I stop, the entire audience stopped. And someone sitting behind him actually jumped up and wrapped their arms around, started giving him the Heimlich. Because we were all sure, we're like, that's a dying person. There's no joy in there. I'm not gonna lie, I had a flashback just then. Like that. When you coughed, I was like, there's no way. There's no way he made it to Brooklyn. That's wild.
Logan and I actually met in Chicago, and we did a few shows together before we started really hanging out and everything. And so it's just, yeah, it's important to me to have him there for stuff, because it's someone who I think when you are on the same wavelength as a friend for long enough, you can start to look at each other like that moment, you know, like that moment where something weird happens and then you don't have a person to look at to be like, this is insane, right? It's like Logan is that person for me when it comes to comedy. We have a good way of seeing each other, and I feel like we bring out the funniest parts of each other, you know? So that's been great, and we've been doing that for like 3 years now. And so he's also going to be doing the Bell House tomorrow. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time. I slept pretty well. I had that sleep where you fall asleep and then you wake up in a panic, thinking it's been maybe 10 minutes and it was all night, which I think is good sleep, even though you woke up like screaming. Drinking some white tea, it's apparently even better for you than green tea. And I haven't had it in a while, but I need lots of energy tonight because we have 2 shows at the Bell House. We sold them both out. So I just want to make sure it's a good show for everyone. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little, there's a hair in here. Feel free to cut this. I don't want people knowing I drink hairy tea. I mean, it's not a foreign hair. It's not like a hair that's like not from this house, you know? It's recognizable. Now it's and this thing is like $16 or something. So I can't waste this cup. It's dry leaves.
I think I've been freaking out about getting older in a way. Like I feel like it's hard not to compare yourself with anyone else your age and just or anyone in your career and everything and wonder if you're not aging in like the right way, you know? And I wanna age as best as possible because it's coming. There's nothing you can do about it. But there's just so many there's only a few lanes, it seems, as an old man that you can go. There's only a few directions. You could be creepy old man. You could be like an angry old man. You could be a sweet old man. Or you could just have dementia. Like, it's just, these aren't a lot of great options. You know, and I'm scared because I don't know how much you choose. Like, life keeps happening and you keep reacting to it, and every reaction feels rational, but who's to say? You know, I'm scared I'm gonna become like an angry old man because I already hate kids. But not kids at large, not kids as an idea. I got beef with specific children. There's a few of them already that like, ooh, one day, you know what I mean? Like, just, I'll tell you about one of them. I was walking down the street and I was minding my own business, how most of my stories start, right? And then there was this Girl Scout. No, you need to be on my side, all right? I'm gonna tell you what she did, just listen, okay? I was walking down the street and there was this Girl Scout and she over here working her little corner or whatever, like. And she laying it on thick too, like cookies, 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 you know, like all that stuff. And so I'm walking and then I'm trying to just avoid eye contact because she already not at my height level, so I'm just staring straight ahead. And she like, cookies, cookies, all that stuff, right? And then she like leaned in just to make eye contact and was like, cookies. And I was like, oh, no, I'm okay. Thank you so much, though. You have a wonderful day. I said all that. I didn't need to say all that. I didn't need to say all that at all. I could have just kept walking. I could have acted like something was playing in my AirPod, like something, right? But I said that because I'm like, look, she out here, young woman trying to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to give her an encouraging word, okay? I'm not going to give her any money, but she's going to, you know, get good vibes off me. So I'm walking. I'm like, oh, no, thank you, but you have a great day. And I'm not even past her yet. She's still right here. As I get closer, she goes, it's okay if you're broke.